Hello everyone, and welcome to the Puma Learning Center training program. In this short video, I'm going to be showing you some ways to approach the math section on the SATs. I'm going to be showing you some sample questions ranging from easy, medium, and hard difficulties, as well as some of the strategies that we at the Puma Learning Center use to make learning enjoyable and easy for all. Here are some of the strategies that we use when we're tutoring someone in the math SAT. The first major strategy is to be sure to read the question. Now again, this sounds a little bit self-explanatory. However, you'd be surprised when kids are rushed and feel pressured by time, they fail to read the question and know exactly what the question is asking. The second main rule is to organize the information that's given to them. Unlike other standardized tests, the SAT is just a test on how to take the SATs. It is important for the student to organize the information that is given to them in the question. Once they organize this information in a way that they can understand it and carefully work it out, they should be able to solve the problem with ease. And the third major rule is to remember to do math. Now again, this sounds a little bit self-explanatory, but once kids are pressured by time and really don't focus on what the question is asking, they can sometimes forget to do key math components that will help them solve the question. Now, we're going to take a look at some questions just to practice and get a feel for using some of these strategies. The question that we're going to see here in this slide is actually going to be an easy question, a question ranging in the easy difficulty range. So, the question is above. What is the value of W in the figure above? Since we read the question, we got to know what exactly the question is asking. The question here is asking what is W? The first step that we're going to use is identifying that there are identical angles in this picture. If you notice the 45 and 35 degree angles, those are what we call adjacent angles. By noticing that they are adjacent angles, we know that the angles on the inside of the triangle where W is are going to equal the same as they are on the outside. Now here is the second step, adding up all the angles and setting them equal to 180 degrees. You might be asking yourself, why are we going to set it to 180 degrees? Well, the reason is this. What shape is W in? And you're right, it's a triangle. Once we know that a triangle is in this problem, we know it's going to equal 180 degrees. So, we have to add 35, 45, and W together in order to find 180. But since we can't add W because we don't know what W is, we're simply going to have to combine like terms first, and then move these like terms over on this side of the equation to get W by itself. By adding 35 and 45 together, we get 80. When we subtract 80 from both sides and subtract 80 from 180, we're going to get that W is going to equal 100. Now the question seems a little bit self-explanatory, and the reason why, it's of the easy difficulty range. Now, any normal student that has taken geometry should be able to figure this out with relative ease. However, if they do struggle in situations like this, or in the subject of geometry, it's very important to take this step by step, even if the kid knows exactly what the answer is before we even explain the directions. This way they can get a full grasp and full concept of what to do step by step every time. Now we're going to take a look at a medium range question. These types of questions will appear in usually the questions ranging from 8 to 16 in a standard math SAT section. So let's take a look at the question. As you can see, we have a table above with a different set of numbers and days of the week. So we're going to be using this information. The table above shows the temperatures in degrees in Fahrenheit in a city in Hawaii over a 1 week period. If M represents the median of the temperature, F represents the temperature that occurs most often, and A represents the average of the 7 temperatures, which of the following is the correct order of A, M, and F? So what this question is asking us is they want us to put what the range of temperatures is in order from A to F. They want us to find the median, which is the number that's going to appear in the middle, the arithmetic mean, which of course is the average, and of course the number that appears most often, which is F. So let's take a look at the first step. The first step is, of course, to put the numbers in order. When you're finding mean, median, and mode, you always have to put the numbers in order so that way you know exactly where to work from left to right. Step 2 is going to find M, or in this case, the median. If we notice that there's 7 numbers here because there's 7 days of the week, we have to figure out what number is in between the first number, which is 66, and the last number, which is 78. 75 falls in this category because there's 3 numbers on both the left and the right side, which makes this the middle number. By looking at the third step, we're going to try to find the mode. For those of you who do not remember what the mode is the number that appears the most often in a sequence. In this case, it's going to be 78, simply because 78 appears twice in the group of 7 numbers. By looking at the fourth step, we have to find the mean, which is A. For those of you who don't remember what the mean simply is the average. How are we going to do that? Well, the way I explain it is simply this, and I use the best mathematical terms possible. I add up all of the stuff, and I divide by the amount of stuff that we have. As you can see, I'm the best when it comes to math terminology. So when we add up all of these numbers together, we should get 515. Now, when we get 515, we're going to have to divide this by 7. Why 7? Because there were 7 numbers that we added together. As you can see, add the amount of stuff and divide by the amount of stuff that you have. In this case, the mean is 73.5. Now for the last step, putting in everything in order from least to greatest. The reason why I chose this question to include in this video more than anything is because this is what we call an open-ended question. This open-ended question does not have a range of multiple choice answers that you can choose from. It solely relies on the children's ability to do proper mathematical terminology. So if we put this in from least to greatest, we recognize that A is going to be the greatest, A is going to be the least, my apologies. Then followed by M, which is 75, and then finally F, which is 78. Now, we're going to look at a question for one of our final slides as a question that is of the hard difficulties. Now, you're going to find these difficulty questions relatively at the end of the section. Generally, if it's a section of 20 questions, you should find this between 17 and 20 will be the hard range questions. So let's take a look at it. A special lottery is to be held to select the student who will live in the only exclusive deluxe room in the dormitory. There are 100 seniors, 150 juniors, and 200 sophomores who applied. Each senior's name is placed in a lottery 3 times, each junior's name 2 times, and each sophomore's name 1 time. What is the probability that a senior's name will be chosen? Well, after reading that long paragraph, we have to ask ourselves, what is the question asking? The question is simply asking, what is the probability that a senior's name will be chosen out of this pool? So, let's take a look at the first step. The first step is to multiply the number of each student by the times they put their name in the lottery. Okay? So now, let's take a look at it. There's a total of 300 senior names. Why? Because each senior, which is 100 students, can put their name in 3 times. There's a total of 300 juniors because they can put in their name 2 times. And there's a total number of juniors is 150. So 2 times 150 is 300. And there's 200 sophomore names because there's 200 sophomores and they can only put in their name once. Sadly, the freshmen were not a part of this category. Now, we're going to take a look at the second step. Divide the number of seniors by the total number of names. As you can see, the total number of senior names is 300 over the total, which is 300 plus 300 plus 200, which would be 800. If we put 300 over 800, we can't simply leave the answer like that. This number can be reduced, and it can be finally reduced to 3 over 8. Why? Because they share a common factor of 100. Again, this is of the hard difficulty. And even though it's of the hard difficulty, this actually did not require that much complex math. The most math that we actually had to do was multiplication, addition, and division. Every single math question on the SAT only ranges from Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry in terms of math. You may include some form of trigonometry that's very, very basic, and a kid can figure out pretty easily. But that's what makes the math SAT so much fun when you break it down and you use some of these strategies. You really realize that any of the questions that you get, no matter what difficulty you are on, you're only going to be narrowing it down to simple mathematics. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope this is very informative. Hopefully, you can use these strategies to help you on to become potential candidates for the Puma Learning Center. Have a great day.